Hello students, welcome back. Today I am Radha from Art and Progressive School going to start another topic of the same chapter that we were discussing in the last class, and the chapter name is Human Reproduction. So in this chapter, when we are talking about the reproduction in case of human beings, what type of reproduction will be there? Sexual reproduction. And what is the prerequisite? That there may be two types of gametes, okay, male gamete as well as female gamete. So from where they will come? So for that we have completed the first topic and the second topic about the male reproductive system as well as the female reproductive system. Okay, once you know about the morphology, or you can say anatomy of the reproductive system, now we can understand easily how the gamete formation will take place in the male part as well as the female part. So that's why today we are going to start another topic that is known as the gametogenesis. Here the name itself indicates gameto relates what? Gamete, and genesis means to form. So whether there will be formation of male gamete or the female gamete, what we are going to say, this is gametogenesis. And if I will talk about the specific definition of the gametogenesis, what? That here gamete is going to form, but from where? From the undifferentiated cells which is present in the gametes. Okay, so here what we are going to understand, what is it? The formation of haploid gametes. Now what do you understand by haploid gametes? See here, what we are saying, we want haploid for what? Because we know that every cell of our body, it is what? It is diploid in nature. What it is? It is diploid in nature. But when there will be the thing for the reproduction, it is required that whether it is male or whether it is female, both are having the diploid one. But they have to form haploid gametes. What will happen if there will be no haploid gametes? You can imagine that if 2n and 2n will fertilize with each other, what will happen? There will be formation of 4n. Okay, but this is not the ploidy level of any human being. Okay, so if it is 4n, it means that it is not a human being. So what is the requirement? Again, whatever the subsequent generation it is going to generate, it should also be 2n. Okay, it means that it should retain the diploid number. So what will happen? This one as well as male and female both will undergo the meiosis. The cells of the both one, it will undergo the meiosis. Why? That only we will get the haploid one. What we will get? We will get the haploid gametes. Now it will be very easy. When haploid and haploid, it will fertilize or fuse with each other. What they will going to form? Diploid. Okay, and what is our aim? To maintain the diploid nature. So here the same thing what we are going to do, we are going to form the haploid gametes. Okay, what we are going to do, we are going to form the haploid gametes. So from where it will form? From the undifferentiated diploid germ cell. It means that we have done in case of plant also, when sexual reproduction we have done. What is there? That every, whether it is a microspore or whether it is a megaspore, both they are arising from where? From some germinal cells. Okay, there was the megaspore mother cells and microspore mother cells. Same here also, whenever we are talking about the gamete formation, there will be differentiation, division in the germinal cells. What are the germinal cells? Those who are having the capacity to divide continuously. Okay, what is it? Germ cells, they are having the capacity to divide again and again, and due to this, what is going to happen? They will form the gametes. And what type of gamete will form? It will form the haploid gamete. Right? So in very simpler term, we can say gametogenesis is what? Formation of gamete. How the formation of gametes? When there will be differentiation in the diploid germ cells. Right? Now these gametogenesis can be of two types. Same thing, what is it? When we are talking about the male part, there is a formation of what type of gamete? Sperm. So that time there we are, what we are calling it? It is a spermatogenesis. Okay, in case of male, what we are going to study? Spermatogenesis. Same in case of female. In case of female, what is the female gamete? It is an ovum. So what you will call it? Oogenesis. Okay, so under this topic we are going to study two process, okay, two phenomena. What are they? Spermatogenesis and the oogenesis. Okay, so today we are going to start the topic with the spermatogenesis. It means that formation of sperms in case of male body. right? Now, so how this process will take place? Again, if I will split this term, spermator relates to what? Something sperm, and genesis means to form. So here, how there will be formation of the sperms? What are the different steps? So here, there are three things. What are they? First of all, we will produce the spermatids. Make sure that you will know each and every term here, because terms are somehow confusing here. So what I said, in the first step there will be production of spermatids. Okay, then after, once the spermatids has been formed, what will happen? There will be production of sperm. It means that there is difference between spermatid and sperm. What is that difference? We are going to study that one, right? And later on there will be spermation. So what is spermation? See here, every name is something how related. So how it is related, how, what is the difference and what is the similarity, right? So we will start with the first step, that is the production of spermatid. It means that what are the steps which is going to happen under this step. Okay, so what are these things? First of all, multiplication, then growth, then maturation. Okay, so why it is happening so? As we have done in the male reproductive system, what is the functional unit of testis? Okay, what is the role of testis? To form the sperm. So what is the functional unit? It is the seminiferous tubule. If you will recall the structure, how was the structure there? Very clear structure we have done. For example, this is the testis. Okay, inside this testis we have said different lobules are present. Okay, different lobules, and what we have done, that it is having around 250 lobules. Okay, and here in each lobules we said they are having the tube like structure. Okay, inside each and every lobule we are having 2 to 3 seminiferous tubules, right? So all these tubules, they are like this. Okay, and here we have completed that all they will reach at one place, and from that place what we have said, that main duct is there. Okay, and then it is connected to the vasa efferentia, right? So what is this part is testis. After that it is connected to the epididymis. Okay, so please go through the male reproductive system also, how this male reproductive system, it is the internal part, right? So what is going to happen, that in these lobules so many seminiferous tubules are there. If I will take one tubule from here, okay, if I will take one tubule from here, how it will look like? This tubule can be look like this one. Okay, and if I will cut this tubule, okay, what I can see this type of structure. Okay, and inside in every tube, wherever we are talking about any tube, you can see at home also there is some center part, okay, which is hollow. That part, what you will call it? You will call it lumen, through which what will happen? There will be movement. So whatever the sperm is going to form here in the testis, it will move outside into the epididymis. Okay, and we know that from the epididymis, where it is going? Into the vas deferens. Okay, this is the passage how the sperm is going to move. So here what we have done, that whatever the thing is going to form, okay, here I mean to say that sperm, so where it is formed, it will form in this seminiferous tubule. From the seminiferous tubule it will move outside, okay, and through the vasa efferentia it will move towards the epididymis. So here when I have taken out the seminiferous tubule, how it will look like? It will look like some circular structure. So the diagram which I have drawn it here, you can assume that it is some tube like structure, okay, which is having the lumen at the center. Okay, this part is what? This part is a hollow part. This part is a hollow part, through which what will happen? Once the sperm will form, it will move outside through this lumen and it will go outside. Okay, so here we have to understand, so how these seminiferous tubules are important, because when we have seen the cross section of this seminiferous tubule, we found that the outer layer having different types of cells. Okay, these are what? These are the germinal cells, and these cells are responsible to give rise to some other cells, okay, after the division, right? So the outermost layer which we can see in this seminiferous tubule, it is what? It is the germinal cells, and we know that each cells, they are what? They are diploid in number. Okay, so these germinal cells, it will be the what? It will be the diploid cell, and it is having the capacity to divide. Now what will happen as the male will attain the age of puberty. Okay, make sure this line is very very important, that in case of male, what is going to happen, the spermatogenesis starts from where? From the puberty age. But when I will discuss with you the oogenesis, it will start from the mother's womb. Okay, so here what is going to happen, as the male will attain the age of puberty, what will happen, the spermatogenesis process will start. And before this age, when the birth of the male baby, what is going to happen, it is having the what, it is having the all germinal cells in their seminiferous tubule. And when there will be division, okay, because it is having the power to divide continuously, so when it will get divide, what will it form, it will form the spermatogonium. What is going to happen, if there will be division, there will be the formation of spermatogonium, right? And this spermatogonium is what, it is the initial part from where there will be formation of the sperms. Now that's why we have divided this formation of sperm into three different phases. The first one is the multiplication phase, second one is the growth phase, and third one is the maturation phase. Multiplication means something is increasing its number, okay, and growth, it is growing in size. So first of all, when you will see here, okay, when you will see here, what you can see, initially we are having so many germinal cells, and each and germinal cells is going to divide. Okay, when it is going to divide, what is going to happen, it will form so many spermatogonium. Okay, it will form so many spermatogonium, and we can say it can form A type as well as B type of spermatogonium. Okay, what are they? A spermatogonium will act as a stem cells, and it will helpful for, again there will be mitosis, and again it will form the this sperm cells, right? So we can say there will be formation of two types of cells, A cells and B cells. So with B cell will again come undergo into the cell cycle. Okay, it means that there will be division in this spermatogonium, which is diploid in number, right? So when there will be mitosis, what is going to happen, we know that mitosis will give rise to what, it will give rise to again the diploid one. Okay, why it is so, because it is an equational division. Mitosis, what, if something is 2n, and if there will be mitosis, it will again form the 2n number. Okay, there will be no change. So what is going to happen here, there will be the growth phase. What is the growth phase? It means that initially spermatogonium, they are small in size. Okay, so now the size will get increased here, and it will become the primary spermatocyte. And when it is going to happen, when the male will attain the age of puberty. So what we can say, that for your ease, I have drawn the outermost layer with the green marker. So these are what, these are the primordial germ cells, and inner to it, we have said these are the spermatogonium, by which I have drawn with the help of the black marker, right? Then comes to the innermost. Okay, next to this spermatogonium, again there will be division. So what it will form, it will form the primary spermatocyte. Now again this primary spermatocyte is diploid in number. Okay, it will be diploid in number. Now the time comes here that it will undergo meiosis. Why it is so? Because they have to form the gamete, and they cannot form the diploid gamete. That's why there is a need of meiosis, and meiosis takes place in two times, meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. So meiosis 1 is what, in which there will be reductional division, and due to this reductional division, what is going to happen, it will form two daughter cells. Okay, two cells here, and both will contain the haploid number right here. So this is meiosis 1. Now again it will undergo the meiosis 2, and when it will undergo the meiosis 1, now the chromosome number, we can say it is 23. Okay, or the 23 in haploid and 23 haploid, right? Now again there will be meiosis 2. Meiosis 2 is what, it is an equational division. When there will be division in this part, it will form again haploid, and from here also it will again haploid. So what we are getting here, we are getting the spermatids. Okay, what you will call, that's why we have written that in the first step, what we are getting the spermatids. So spermatids are what, the spermatids, again if there will be division in the secondary spermatocyte, what they have formed? They have formed these spermatids. So you can see that these spermatids, again, they are circular structure. Okay, and we know that what is the structure of sperms? It is having some this type of structure, head and tail. All you know about it. So now what will happen? It will undergo the differentiation. It means that there will be some changes in these spermatids, or there will be maturation, and due to this maturation, what will happen? It will get its tail here. Okay, till here, what is it? It is known as a spermatid. It is not the sperm. When it will get its tail here, due to the differentiation or due to the maturation, then it will form the spermatozoa, or you can say sperms. Both are the same thing. Okay, so what we are getting here? We are getting so many spermatozoa. So you can imagine, from the one cell we are getting so many, and if we are having this much cells in the seminiferous tubule, so how many millions of sperms we can find from here? Okay, what I mean to say here, that in the whole process, it means that for up to the formation of spermatids, there are the three different steps. What are the first one? Is multiplication phase, which is happening here. Okay, that's why because the number is going to increase here, multiplication phase. After the multiplication phase, there will be the growth phase. Okay, this is known as the growth phase, and after the growth phase, there will be what? There will be the maturation phase. This phase, growth phase, is what? Up to here we can say it is growing and growing, and after that this one is known as the maturation phase. In maturation phase there will be some changes. Okay, after the maturation there will be the differentiation. Okay, now here we have done the production of spermatids, then we have done the production of sperm. So from where you are getting the sperms? From the spermatids, and this process, it is known as what? Spermiogenesis. So what is spermiogenesis? It means that production of sperms from the spermatids. It is known as the spermiogenesis. And what is spermatogenesis? It means that whole things, okay, whole things, whether it is a multiplication, growth and maturation phase, it comes under the spermatogenesis, right? So this question may be asked in the examination: what is the difference between spermatogenesis and the spermiogenesis, right? And in spermiogenesis only one phase is there. What is it? That is the differentiation phase, right here. Now the third one is the spermiation. As you can see in this diagram, what is going to happen, that as there will be more and more division, what is happening? There will be formation of spermatid, and when they will get differentiated, there will be formation of sperms, and these sperms will going to leave this seminiferous tubule. Okay, so this is known as what? There will be a specific term we have used, that is what? Spermiation. Okay, what is it? Spermiation. So when it will leave this part of this seminiferous tubule, okay, so we can say it is a spermiation, right? 3 steps we have completed. Now you can see that some more structure are present. Okay, if you will recall the structure, we have done that in the inside the seminiferous tubule we are having some Sertoli cells. What are these? These are the Sertoli cells. What is the function of the Sertoli cells? They are helping in this spermatogenesis. Then how? They are helping because they are giving nourishment to the sperm. Then only they are able to differentiate. Okay, earlier it was the spermatids. When they will get nourishment from these Sertoli cells, then it will get mature, and then only it can leave, or they can liberate the sperms from this seminiferous tubule, right here. So these are the things which is associated here. So along with this we should know some important points. Okay, some important terms are related to this thing. The first one is spermiation. So what do you understand by spermiation? As I have said, that when there will be liberation of sperms from the seminiferous tubule, or when it will liberate from the Sertoli cells. Okay, it means that after the nourishment from the Sertoli cells, it is going to leave this seminiferous tubule part through the lumen. Okay, so this process it is known as what? It is known as the spermiation. Right here, then comes to the other one, semination. Semination means that when there will be liberation of the sperms from the testes. Okay, see here you can see from the seminiferous tubule where it will reach into this testis. Okay, so when it will again liberate, okay, when it will go from, when it is going to leave from the testis towards the vas deferens, that process is known as the semination. Okay, and when there will be ejaculation. Ejaculation is what? Ejaculation is that term in which we are using that there will be liberation of sperms from the male body, okay, through the penis. This is known as what? This is known as the ejaculation. And another term is what? Insemination. Insemination is what? Whenever we are talking about the semen, that semen should be incorporated into the female urogenital tract. So when there will be incorporation of this semen into the female urogenital tract, the term it is known as the insemination. Right? So these things are very, very important from the examination point of view as well. So here we have completed the whole process of the spermatogenesis, how it is going to form and what cells they are helping them. Right? So now the question arises that how these know that they have to give nourishment and some other things. There is important role of hormones also, okay, because everything which is happening in our body, it is due to the action of the hormone. So here we will understand another subtopic, that is the role of hormones during the spermatogenesis. So what is the role of hormones here? We know that in our body hypothalamus is there. Okay, hypothalamus is what? It is a brain of brain. So this hypothalamus will give the signal to the pituitary, and we are having two pituitary. What are they? Anterior pituitary and the posterior pituitary. So most of the hormone they get released from which part? From the interior part. Right? So what is going to happen here? From hypothalamus, okay, it will send what type of hormone? GnRH. What is it? Gonadotropin releasing hormone. Okay. Why? Because it is acting upon the gonads. It will remain same for the spermatogenesis as well as for the oogenesis. Okay. So here whenever there will be talking about the gonads, it means that this is the GnRH, okay, and this will be released by the hypothalamus to the anterior pituitary. So once the anterior pituitary will get this releasing hormone, it will secrete two types of hormone. What are they? LH and FSH. What is LH? LH is a luteinizing hormone, and what is FSH? FSH is a follicle stimulating hormone. Again, these two hormones will remain same in the oogenesis also. Okay, so here function is somehow different. So here, what is the function of this LH then? LH will act upon the Leydig cells. And what are the Leydig cells? We have done that outside these tubules. Okay, these are the Sertoli cells, right? And these are the male germ cells. And outer to it, some interstitial cells are present, which is known as what? These are known as the Leydig cells. Right here, what you can say, that so many interstitial cells are there, which is known as the Leydig cells. And what is the function of these Leydig cells? They are going to secrete the androgen hormone, and in that part testosterone is very, very important. So what is going to happen? These Leydig cells, they will release the testosterone hormone, and these hormone, it is useful for stimulating the spermatogenesis. It means that formation of sperm, it is due to what? Due to the testosterone hormone. And from where testosterone hormone is coming? From the Leydig cells. And why? Because it is giving the LH hormone. What is luteinizing hormone? Right here, that comes to the FSH. So what is the role of FSH? It means that it will act upon the Sertoli cell. And what I have said right now, these triangular structure, these are the Sertoli cells, which is going to give nourishment to the sperm production. Right here. So from where it will get the signal? From our brain. Okay. And from which part? From the anterior pituitary. And from the anterior specifically, it is an FSH hormone. So from these Sertoli cells, what is going to happen? It will release the FSH hormone here, and due to this there will be the nourishment for the sperms. Okay, now the sperms will get mature when they will get their tail, because without the tail we know that sperm has to move from one place to another place, okay, from male part to the female part. So it must be motile, okay, and motility should be good. If there will be no motility, what is going to happen? Or if it is slow motility, so then there will be no proper insemination, or we can say no fertilization, right? So here what we have done, that for the formation of sperm, what is the process it is going to happen and where it is going to happen, and it is a site. Site is what? It is the seminiferous tubule. In seminiferous tubule, we know that male germ cells inside it and Sertoli cells as well as the Leydig cells. Okay, along with this Hormones are also responsible. What are the hormones? LH and FSH. Okay, so like this there will be the formation of sperms, and the first step is what? Spermatogenesis is completed here. Along with this, after formation of these sperms, we will understand that how these structure looks like. Here we will understand the structure of sperm. So structure of sperm is what? It is just like the tadpole. Okay, and here the whole body, if you can see that the whole body is surrounded by the plasma membrane. This point is very important. The whole body of the sperm, it is surrounded by the plasma membrane, and if you can see the structure here, it is divided into some different parts. What is the part? The first part is head, and the second part is neck, and the third middle piece, and fourth one is the tail. Okay, so like this you have to draw this diagram in exam also, and you have to mention each and every part of the sperm and what is the function, because this one is very important, right? So here we know that sperm is also a cell, right? And here every cell have a nucleus. Okay, and that nucleus will going to fuse with the nucleus of an ovum. Then only there will be fertilization. So here the head is responsible for what? It contains the haploid nucleus. Okay, it contains what? The structure contains the haploid nucleus here. And if I will talk about the haploid, means that n in number, and this head part, it is also covered by some structure, or you can see here some cap like structure is present above to the this head part, which is known as what? Which is known as the acrosome. This again very important question. Why this this cap like structure, it is known as acrosome? Why? Because it contains the enzymes. What type of enzyme? Some proteolytic enzyme. It means that when it is going to enter in the ovum. Okay, for example, this is an ovum, and when it is going to enter in this ovum having different layers, okay, which is made up of different proteins. So that time we need that enzyme which is going to break down on these layers. Okay, so here that's why this acrosome contains an enzyme which will act as a lysing enzyme. Okay, this lysing enzyme will break down these layers, and it will get enter inside an ovum, and here it can fuse the nucleus, right? So that's why the role of acrosome is very important. So here it is present in the head, and we know that inside an ovum only head will undergo. Okay, so here now comes to the second part, that is the neck region. Okay, so here you can see that neck region is present. What is the role of this neck region? It contains two centrioles. Okay, it contains two centriole. The first we can say two centrioles. One is the proximal centriole and another one is the distal centriole. And we know that which is very closer one, it is known as the proximal, and which one is the in a distant region, it is known as the distal centriole. So the role of this proximal centriole is important for what? For the zygote. Okay, why? Because when it will fuse with the ovum, so there will be the cleavage in the zygote. So that time this centriole is going to help for the proper cleavage in the zygote. Okay, now comes to the second one. This second centriole is important for what? It is important for making the filaments. Okay, the axial filament, because this tail is made up of what? It is made up of the axial filament. We will study more about all these filaments, centriole in the another chapter, but here for your understanding you must know that what is it, that during that time what is happening, that there will be formation of these filament here, and what type of axial filament, and these axial filament is formation due to the distal centriole. Okay, so two centrioles are present on the neck region. Then comes to the third middle piece. Again will become important. Why? Because this middle piece contains so many mitochondria, and we know that what is mitochondria, what is the role of mitochondria. This is the powerhouse of the cell. Okay, so it means that whatever the mobility or motility of the sperm, it is due to what? Due to the energy. Okay, from where the sperm is getting energy? From the mitochondria, because it is storing so many parts. Okay, so that it can move very fast, or it can move very in a rapid manner, so that it can go for the fertilization. right? So we can say that middle part contains what? So many mitochondria are there, and the function of this mitochondria is what? In the sperm mobility, okay, or the motility. Then comes to the fourth one, that is the tail. Tail is the longer region, okay. Tail is the longer part of all the part. Okay, if I will compare with the head, so it will be a longer in length, and it is made up of what? It is made up of axial filament. As I have said, the distal centriole is responsible for making this axial filament for the tail. Okay, so like this is the whole structure of sperm. It can be asked the examination by many ways, so you must know each and every part of it, right? Now comes to the coitus. Coitus is what? Again, it is the, we can say, during the intercourse, or any time when the male going for the full or the single coitus. During a single coitus, the male ejaculates how many sperms? It can ejaculate 200 to 300 million sperms at a time. Okay, and we have done what is by ejaculation? When there will be liberation of sperm from the penis. Okay, this is known as the ejaculation. So how many sperms it is going to release here? 200 to 300 million sperms, and out of them, if we will compare, 60% of them, it will be of normal shape and size, and 40% will show the vigorous motility. Okay, and we know that out of this million sperms, only few will reach up to an ovum. Why it is so? Because some of the sperms, it will get remain in the this vaginal part. Okay, then it is moving to the cervix. Then there also some pH level is so high, and due to that it will get die off, and as it is entering towards, so many sperms will get die off in the way, on the way only. Okay, only few of them will reach to an ovum for the proper fertilization. And when they will enter into the in the female reproductive system, what is going to happen? They can be alive for 24 to 48 hours. Okay, so this is the viability of the sperms inside the female, and if it will get an ovum here, it will get fertilized. Okay, and otherwise there will be of no fertilization, right? So we have completed the whole spermatogenesis, and after in this spermatogenesis, production of sperms and how it look like. So likewise, in other class we will start with the second one, that is a oogenesis. Okay, it is also a part of gametogenesis, right? So that's all for today. Thank you.